show my love for you.
Welcome to Marriage Mondays, where we talk about all things marriage and, of course, most importantly, family. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in and listening. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you. This is Marriage Mondays. Hi guys, welcome back to Marriage Mondays. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about marriage myths and them lies that they be saying about marriage. But if you want to hear about our personal experience with marriage myths and debunking them, then keep on watching. Hey babe. So, marriage myths. What would you say is the biggest marriage myth that, or if there was something that you were either looking forward to or waiting to happen and it just wasn't the case?
I don't know if it's necessarily a myth, but I would say that when you get married and that everything is just figured out, like you just, like marriage is like the ultimate relationship fixer type of thing. Like, I don't know, like whatever issues that you had before you got married, I guess, like some people feel like once you get married, like this cloak of, I don't know, I guess understanding just comes upon you and everything is all right after you get married. And it's quite the opposite, actually. In my opinion, things intensify after you get married.
Yeah, because it's like you're shining a light now because of the whole thing that's going around now about the representative. You show your representative when you're dating, and so when you get married and move in and start building, then all of those skeletons start coming out. The real you, show us the real you, starts coming out, and the light is shine, and then you're like, okay, so it was a representative and not who you really are. Okay, now we have to adjust to what and who you really are. Not the biggest, but one of the myths for me would have to be the honeymoon phase. Everyone talks about this honeymoon phase in marriage, and we didn't have one. Or do you think we had one?
No, definitely not.
Our honeymoon phase was us dating.
Yeah.
The honeymoon phase was the dating, the staying up on the phone until you went to sleep and, going on dates.
I will say ours was a little bit different because, and I think maybe some people who do have honeymoon phases or whatever, maybe their dynamic was a little different. But for us, it was different because we didn't move in together until after we got married and things of that nature. So I think, and like I always tell you, I think just the new pressures of the family dynamic as it presented itself was, I think again added a different type of stress that we wasn't necessarily prepared for. I think that's what kind of disrupted our what we might call, what a lot of people may call honeymoon phase. Because if you already living together, you're already sharing financial responsibility, you already, if there's a kid involved, you already got, the kid living there with you. So the living part of it was already taken care of. So when you get married, it kind of is just like, okay, we're married now. We made this commitment, spend the rest of our life together. And I guess there may be this little click in your head, like we really want to, be happy and this and that. And not saying that we wanted to be happy, but I just think for us, it was a little bit stressful going through, the career changes, the living together, then of course living together with our child, all of that.
And another myth is with the kids, like kids ruin marriages. For me, RJ wasn't a reason why we were going through what we were going through. I felt like even if it was just me and you, I feel like we would still went through the same thing. I do know some people, like a guy had came into my job and he was in the middle of a divorce and they had a little girl and it was just him and the little girl, and he was like, if you want your marriage to last, never have kids. And he just was just so like just sad. And here he have his daughter who is hyper and filled with joy, and he was just he told me that, and I was like, oh my God, first of all, I can't believe he said that, first of all. And second of all, like, my heart goes out to him because that's sad that he thinks that. And maybe, of course, a lot of these marriage myths can be debunked if you communicate while you're dating. If we say what our intentions is, how do you want to raise your kids? That's a conversation that needs to happen while you're dating.
But you know what? I think it's back also too, and just kind of still on top of the kids thing. Mm-hmm. Like they always say, nobody is truly prepared to be a parent. I think some people, again, a lot of people like the ideas of things. Mm-hmm. You like the idea of being a parent. You like the idea of having a kid. Mm-hmm. But then once it actually hits you in the face, you're like, maybe this ain't, for me.
When that baby start crying late at night, and teething,
and it continues to go on when they get to be toddlers and they running around everywhere breaking stuff and
want to grab everything
and painting on walls and doing all kinds of stuff. And before you know it, they're teenagers and Jesus, and so it's like the idea of having a kid may be very attractive for a lot of people.
It should be.
And again, but fruitful. If you're not ready to be a parent, and sometimes you really have to try and soul search that and figure out, am I really truly ready to give a little person, and that's going to become a bigger person and an even bigger person, my all, and be a true parent to them.
For me, I don't think it's about if you're ready to be a parent, because I don't think no one's ever prepared to be a parent. But I think it's about, are you ready to be a parent with your partner?
Well, and that's a whole nother bag of worms.
That's what it is.
But I think too, though, I think truly and honestly, a lot of people just they really honestly kind of get the responsibility of being a parent, and one of the biggest things that goes out the door, I'll admit, even I was a little, we had arguments and talks about that a lot, but you really forget how much this child is going to need you, and the freedom that you had before this child goes away. It does decimate. I'm not going to say it completely goes away, but it definitely decimates. You just can't pick up and go whenever you want to go because you got a child now.
And y'all, he lied to me because
I did.
He said that we were still going to be able to do everything we were going to do with a child. Yeah, and I was saying, no, you can't. And he promised me. Well, he didn't promise me, but he did.
And the thing is that, but I knew and I was thinking more so of as he gets older. And it's true, and he is still, young, and so. But as he gets older, but again, like I said, in the immediate future, we're talking about 8 years that done passed.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's a lot of things that I've had to, and I'm sure you have had to think twice about doing just because we have a child.
Yeah.
Like I said again. that affects everything. That affects vacations. What you want to do to unwind, getting drunk, or doing whatever you want to do. It's just the simplest stuff that you just don't think about when you have a child. And if you really want to be a good parent, and you don't want to, fuss and cuss at them for you, and that hopefully you don't want to do that. Tell them to go in their room and close the door. Like, no, like, god dang, like, no, you don't want to do all that. If you really want to be a good parent, then all that stuff has to be, taken into consideration. Because again, like I said, even vacations, like I was just telling you, a couple of weeks when we went to the beach. I feel bad about going to the beach without RJ. Now, there are things that we could do on the beach all day.
But a few years before, I think I wanted to go for my birthday, and then I told you I felt guilty about going without
because it's just like no beach. Without him, it feels a little. But again, like I said,
sure.
That's just.
I was really more so joking. Yeah, I don't want to go without him because he loves.
But no, I mean, like
much.
I said, though, the beach it obviously can be romantic. It's a.
I'm sure when he gets older and want to be around his friends, he's gonna be like, I don't want to go to no beach.
Well, exactly. But as of right now, it just feels a little bad. But those are the type of things that, again, like I said,
but we're on the same page with that. Some people aren't.
Yeah. I mean, and that is again, so those, I think so. That's kind of like a two-parted thing. To your point, this having kids and just being a parent in general can be a stress on a marriage,
for sure.
But then, to your point, having a child with that person is just a whole nother can of worms because. To your point, if y'all don't agree on certain things,
that could be a problem.
That could definitely be a problem. And like in that example, you was like, well, no, I think we should just go to the beach all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, no, I feel guilty. Yeah. Now that's you gonna bump heads
sure.
And now that's just a bit.
I can see how a wife could be very depressed because of that.
Yeah. I mean, which tends to happen in marriages. Some parents resent their kids because of the attention that maybe one parent is giving to kids.
Piggybacking off of the kids, the being ready for marriage. For me, I don't think you can ever be ready to be married. So this whole notion of you need to be ready and you got to have this and you got to have that. I think you got to have God. That's what you have to have. And and you don't even have to have discernment. Now I get it, but you don't even have to have discernment. Like for me, I feel like there is no, okay, if you cross all this off of the list, now you can get married. I don't feel that way at all. Now, once again, it really just depends on your partner. If you do have a narcissist, if you do have someone that is just toxic or abusive and things like that, then yeah. But when you have your true person, then y'all can go through anything. Y'all can go through death. Y'all can go through cheating. Y'all can go through abuse. Y'all can go through hurt, pain, kids, finances. Y'all can go through it all if you truly find your person. I don't think you can ever be ready for marriage. That's just me. I think you have to know that this is the person for you. And even if it's not the person for you, y'all get married, y'all get a divorce, that was your path. And now you can learn from that and take it to your next marriage or your next relationship. But yeah, I don't think you can ever, for me, I know a lot of people might disagree, but for me, I don't think you can ever be truly ready, like, and be like, okay, yeah, you can get married. Like, no, I don't think you can ever be ready.
Yeah, I think the only thing that can most prepare you for marriage would be to define what, first off, define who you want to be in the marriage, and define who you want your spouse to be in the marriage. I think that's something that a lot of people don't do when they're dating. Again, back to this magical, something is just gonna click the day you get married that says, oh, he's gonna know everything that I want and she's gonna know everything that I want. No, it don't work like that. You have to tell the person what what it is that you expect. If you want your wife to cook and clean all the time and do this and do that, and you want your husband to still do this and that and date nights and cut the grass every Sunday and this, whatever it is that you feel like you want out of your spouse, you need to be able to tell them that before you get married, so that when you get married, you're not over here looking at them like, oh, well, we married now. I thought you was going to do this. I thought you was going to do that. Because here you are thinking and assuming, and you know what happens when you assume. So, you can't just assume that this person is going to read your mind. And they may love you and care about you and all that, but they still not mind readers, and they're not going to be able to just figure out what you want out of this marriage if you didn't say it, if you didn't convey. And I think to a point, that was kind of what we went through. I think there was things that, again, I was very upfront about. I thought I knew what it was to be a husband and a dad at the same time, and figure that all out, and what it was to be a husband and a dad, and then a husband and a dad, because it's two different. It's what it is in the family unit and what it is differently. And yeah, I didn't found out the hard way that I didn't, but it kind of is what it is, because again, those are the type of things that while we were dating, I don't think we made clear with each other, and that is a big issue. Like I said, I think people just feel like marriage is just like this big light bulb that just goes off and everything is clear after that.
But I feel like you keep saying that because we had problems or something while we were dating. Are you talking about us, or are you just talking about in general?
No, I'm talking about in general. I think, okay. No, yeah, because I think that was the thing. I think when we was dating, everything just seemed,
it was great,
pretty good. And then it was just like, I don't think after we got married, again, like I said, the things that change that we didn't think about when you get married. And when we got married, those were the things that, again, we really just didn't discuss, and we didn't even know to discuss those things before we got married. And because if we would have known to discuss them before, we would have been more prepared, and we wasn't prepared. We wasn't prepared for none of this stuff for the most part that attacks your marriage. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's because it's a lot. It's a lot that attacks the marriage, and it attacks you separately. But again, when you're married, it's different.
I think another myth I would say is the just saying so lightly, have God in your marriage. I think it wasn't pushed enough. It wasn't instilled in us really seriously. Like, it was kind of like a light thing for people to say. And once you really get a relationship with God and actually have your marriage in it, we were kind of doing light stuff, but it wasn't nowhere as near as I think God would have liked it to be. And once you realize and start reading your Bible and understanding, like, we wrestle not with flesh and blood, and really understand what that means, then I felt like we could have avoided a lot of things. But once again, what the devil meant for bad, God means for good. And I felt like we became stronger because of our situations. And I feel like our communication is entirely better than what it was. But seriously, y'all, when people say have God in your marriage, seriously have God in your marriage. Like, don't lollygag, don't play around, don't play with it when people tell you that. Like, seriously have God in your marriage. Seriously. not not something lollygag. So yeah, I wish that was something that was more impounded in us, for sure. But God looked out and we made it. You know, sometimes you don't have to have people around you to know what it is, because I for a lot of people, they say that they want examples of marriage. Oh, I didn't have a good example and all that. I don't think you need one. I don't think you need one. God will supply all of your needs, and when he says supply all of your needs, it doesn't all mean materials. It can mean internal as well. You know, asking for wisdom, he will give it to you, and you can know it for yourself. Sometimes people don't have to have examples, and I think that's kind of something that we definitely brought into our marriage. Definitely brought other voices in our marriage as well, who was kind of trying. I think they meant good intentions, but it wasn't good for us to have other people in our marriage. I think one thing that was said, that John Pervere said, shout out to him. He's the reason why I got this topic. We were talking about this today about marriage myths. He said that the one thing in his marriage that was a mistake was getting people that only liked him and hated his wife. and she agreed, and she said, yeah, vice versa. I will talk to my friends who hated you every time we had a problem, and that just screwed us up and almost got us, messed up. So I think you should definitely get someone who doesn't know you guys, but obviously loves God. Jesus, for sure. Don't get no spiritualist. No. But yeah, just finding someone who isn't biased, I guess I should say.
But yeah, and then the other thing is too, as far as with people, is watching out for people that project their downfalls on you and your relationship. Because again,
Sure.
even again, and they could be unbiased, and they but as far as y'all two, but their bias is their own personal experience, and what they're doing is kind of putting that on you and your relationship,
Right.
and they're gonna tell you, all women are this and all men are this. And it's like, well, dang, like how you know that? And it's like, well, I was in 3 marriages, and all my husbands
Not
cheated,
treating.
and like,
I'll treat
dang,
y'all.
like and I was in a marriage for 20 years, and he ended up cheating, and this and that, and he was cheating the whole time, and this is
They're
like,
only telling you what they know.
exactly, and that's the thing. Like, you projecting your experience off on me, and my relationship, and sometimes you just gotta watch out for that too, because it's and sometimes there may be truth in what people are saying, what they're saying, but at the end of the day, you have to kind of decipher that for yourself and your relationship,
Yes.
with God, of course, but that's their battles, and their relationship is not necessarily yours, and it very well much so could be, But again, how they navigated through it is also going to be different because we're all different. Every person is different, which makes every relationship different. There may be similarities into it. There may be very, 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 very similar similarities into it, but not 100% the same because I'm a different person than you. There is something about me that is different than you. So the way I approach this situation is going to be that much different. So
All right, guys. We will definitely do a part 2 of this because I have some other things too. But those are, at least for us, the marriage myths. But I always say go at it with God and really don't look to the world for answers. Look to God for the answers, and even if successful marriage, whatever the definition of that is, because there is no true definition of that. And if you get a divorce and it doesn't work out, then you were supposed to learn that lesson, and you can learn from it. So, yeah. But now it's time to get into the black facts of the day and of the episode. Here on Marriage Mondays, we're going to give you black facts. I have Katherine Johnson, who is the world's first human programmable computer language. In 1952, Katherine Johnson developed the world's first human programmable computer language, which was used to calculate for NASA missions. Her invention revolutionized how space travel is conducted and helped pave the way for future discoveries in the field. And I think that's really cool, that a black woman did that for NASA and revolutionized space and travel. And it's just a lot of things that black people have done, and to know we literally have our hands in everything, and for her to have something in space and help NASA, which is something that is really huge in America. Especially it became huge, I think, by Ronald Reagan. I think he put a lot of money into NASA, and for her to have her hands in it and in a big way and a big impact, I think that's pretty cool. There's still space missions to this day. I don't know, because Elon Musk done sat up here and went to somewhere. But he wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Miss Catherine. So yeah, babe, what is your black fact?
mine is a little less
Ain't nothing less.
important,
Ain't
if you
nothing
will.
less important. They're all
However, it's
important.
very important to me. So and that's all that really matters.
Exactly, for sure.
But in 1959, and this resonates with me, that happened very recently because I recently just cooked this bomb beef pot roast.
It was really good.
But in 1959, William C. Davis invented instant mashed potatoes while playing around with some potatoes, and I guess he realized that if you grind them up real finely, and then add some water, apparently in boiling water, it'll pretty much just make mashed potatoes.
I made some the other day, and after you told me that, I think it is amazing how you can just put these flakes in the pot and then just mix it up, and then boom, you got mashed potatoes, and they're so good. Really delicious. All right, guys, that has been another episode of Marriage Mondays. Please comment down below if you agree with our myths or not, and look forward to part 2. And yeah, just keep God first and get the noise out of your marriage and let it be you and them and God. But all right, see you guys next time. Bye. Yeah, we definitely gotta do it.